Behavior of real gases, deviation from ideal gas behavior. Now, there's a very complicated this topic is, okay, but it is very easy. Okay, why do the ideal gas why do the real gas deviates from the ideal gas behavior? Why they are not behaving exactly as the ideal gas is behaving? Okay, so there's the two assumptions of the kinetic theory which has been assumed in a wrong way. Okay, that is why we considering the real gas behavior different from the ideal gas. In the kinetic theory, it has been said that there's no force of attraction among the molecules of the gas. Okay, so if there is no force of attraction, then how can we liquefy the gas? Because when we are applying high pressure and low temperature, the gases can be liquefied. Okay, so that means at that moment the intermolecular force of attraction comes into play, that increases and the gas is liquefied. Okay, so if if this would have been the postulate, the gas would have never been liquefied. Okay, that's why this is a wrong assumption. The second one is the volume of the molecule of the gas is negligibly small in comparison to the space occupied by the gas. That means if we consider the ideal gas and the real gas. In ideal gas, the gas molecules are considered to be as point mass. If we bring this point mass molecules to a confined space, then these volume of molecules is negligible to the volume of this free space available in the container. That means we can say that these volume of molecules is negligible. We can say the volume of the free space available inside the conductor is equal to the volume of the gas. In this is we can say in the ideal gas term. Okay, whatever the volume of the space is there, it is equal to the volume of the ideal gas here. But when we talk about the real gas, in real gas, molecules are in the form of rigid spheres. So when we bring closer these molecules, when we bring it closer, okay, the rigid spheres come to a particular point. Now the volume of this particular space is not negligible to the volume of the free space in which gas molecules can move inside the container. So to take out this volume of the free space in which gas molecules can move, okay, what do? We take the volume of the container, the whole volume, minus we subtract the volume occupied by the molecules. Suppose Vm is the volume occupied by the molecules, so we subtract it from the volume of the container. Okay, to get the real volume. That's why the volume of the molecules of the gas, this postulate is also completely wrong, because in terms of real gas we can't say, because molecules are rigid spheres. So, and the second reason why we can't say this postulate as, because if we consider the pressure volume graph, in pressure volume graph, if we see, this is the normal pressure volume graph. Okay, but for the real gas there is a slight deviation in the pressure volume graph. This is the graph for the real gas and this is the graph for the ideal gas. So if both the behavior would have been same, the graph should coincide, but the graph is not coinciding, it is a little bit different. Okay, that's why the pressure versus volume graph of experimental data, okay, is being different. It should coincide. So this also says, this graph also says that the real gas is different from ideal gas. Okay, now real gases show deviations from ideal gas law because molecules interact with each other. At high pressures, molecules of gases are very close to each other. Molecular interactions start operating. At high pressures, molecules do strike the walls of the container with full impact because these are dragged back by other molecules due to molecular attractive forces. This affects the pressure exerted by the molecules on the walls of the container. Thus, the pressure exerted by the gas is lower than the pressure exerted by the ideal gas. Now, what does this mean? If we consider about the ideal gas, in ideal gas, what happened? We consider the gas molecules as point space. Okay, so if they are point space and there is no force of attraction among the molecules, then they will strike the wall of the container with the same force. Okay, but if we consider the real gas where the molecules are rigid space, and if there is any molecule in the center, then this molecule is being equally attracted by the other molecules in the neighboring. Okay, but if we see the molecules towards a wall, this molecule will strike the wall of the container. But suppose this is a molecule, okay, but there are certain like B molecules of the type present here among them. Okay, here is also B type of molecule present. They are equally attracted. This A type of molecule is equally attracted by these B type of molecules. So here there is null force of attraction. Okay, but if this molecule which is striking the wall of the container, if there is B type of molecule, so this B type of molecule will attract A type of molecule. So now what will happen when they will attract this A type of molecule? Now this A type of molecule will not strike the wall, will not strike the wall with the same force. Okay, that's why this diagram is there. This A type of molecule is attracted by B type of molecule. So suppose these two forces are equal and opposite, so these are cancelling. But these forces of attraction, so they will attract, the B type of molecule will attract this A type of molecule. So this A type of molecule will not strike the wall of the container with the same force. That means the force will decrease. The pressure exerted by the gas will become lower than the pressure exerted by the ideal gas. So this, whatever the pressure which will become lower, it depends upon the number of type of molecules, number of A type of molecules and number of B type of molecules. More the concentration of B molecules, more will be the force of attraction. Okay, so more will be the pressure decreased. So the whatever the pressure will be decreased, okay, that will be proportional to the concentration of molecules of the A type as well as concentration of the molecules of the B type. Okay, that's why this is proportional to n square by v square. Replacing this proportionality constant, we write a n square by v square, where a is the constant and a is directly proportional to the force of attraction among the molecules. Okay, more the force of attraction among the molecules, more will be the value of a. That is the significance of a. Okay, so that's why to make that real pressure in the pressure exerted by the real gas equals to the ideal gas pressure, we add this pressure, because the pressure for the real gas has been decreased because of these molecules only. Okay, so to make the pressure equal to the pressure exerted by the ideal gas, we must add this value to the pressure exerted by the real gas to make it equal to the pressure exerted by the ideal gas. That's why the correction term a n square by v square has been introduced, and we framed P ideal is equal to P real plus a n square by v square. This is the correction term. Okay. Repulsive forces also become significant. Repulsive interactions are short range interactions and are significant when molecules are almost in contact. This is a situation at high pressure. So when we are exerting a very high pressure, what will happen? Molecules will repel each other with a greater force. So at that time also repulsive forces will become significant. Repulsive forces will cause the molecules to behave as small but impenetrable spheres. The volume occupied by the molecules also becomes significant, because instead of moving in volume V, these are now restricted to the volume V minus NV, where NV is approximately the total volume or the excluded volume occupied by the molecules themselves. As I had explained in the previous slide, okay, that if there is low pressure, the molecules are like this, okay, or if we can say in the ideal gas also, if we try to bring the molecules at this confined space, so this volume occupied by the molecules is negligible to the volume occupied by the free space available for the gas molecules to move. It's negligible. We can say that the volume of the molecule is equal to volume of the container. But for the real gas, where the molecules behave as rigid spheres, and when we apply high pressure, then what happens? This molecule, we can't say that it's negligible to the whole volume occupied by the space. Okay, the whole volume occupied by the gas molecules, the free space available for the gas molecules to move about. Okay, we can't say, because at that time the molecules are rigid space, they occupy a certain volume. So to calculate the volume of the free space available for the gas molecules to move, what do? We take the volume of the container minus we subtract the volume occupied by the molecules to find the volume, the free space available for the gas molecules to move about. Okay, that's why we write V container minus V molecules, and this V molecules is equal to NB. Okay, why NB? Because again it is proportional to the number of moles. More the number of molecules, more will be the volume occupied by the molecules. So volume will be directly proportional to N. Okay, replacing this proportionality, we write NB. That's why B is the proportionality constant. Okay, so B here basically represents the excluded volume. Okay, it is the significance is that it represents the volume of the molecules occupied by the gas. So introducing the correction term in the ideal gas equation. So the correct equation which we can use to calculate the pressure and volume for real gas is this equation, and this equation is known as van der Waals equation. P plus A n square by V square into V minus NB is equal to nRT. We can write it like this also: P plus A n square by V square V minus NB is equal to nRT. This is the van der Waals equation. Okay. Now, the significance of A and B, as I have told you, it's a measure of the magnitude of intermolecular attractive forces within the gas. More will be the intermolecular forces, more with the molecules, more will be the value of A. Okay, it is independent of temperature and pressure. NB is the total volume occupied by the molecules themselves. That is the significance of B also. Now, explanation of deviation from ideal gas behavior. As little bit idea I have given you that how the ideal gas behavior is different from the behavior of the real gas. How do the real gas deviate from the ideal gas? Okay, so the deviation of the ideal from ideal behavior, that can be expressed in terms of compressibility factor Z. Suppose if it's an ideal gas, it will obey this equation under all conditions of temperature and pressure, that gas will obey all the laws. But suppose if it's a real gas, if it's not obeying this, suppose there is a factor which is disturbing the equality between the two. If you are introducing this factor, then only these two sides of the equation is becoming equal. Okay, then this factor is known as the compressibility factor, which is responsible for the deviation of ideal gas. Okay, deviation from ideal gas behavior. This compressibility factor tells us the deviation from the ideal gas behavior. Okay, so Z is equal to PV by nRT. If Z is equal to 1, then we would have PV is equal to nRT, which is the equation for the ideal gas. So if the value of the Z is 1, it is for, that means it's an ideal gas. Okay, but the graph of Z versus P will be a straight line parallel to pressure axis. Okay, for gases which deviate from ideality, the Z deviates from unity. It will be greater than 1 or it will be less than 1. If it's greater than 1, that means the gases are showing positive deviation. Okay, and if it's less than 1, then the gases are showing negative deviation. So these are the negative values, show that these are the gases showing negative deviation. Here the Z value is less than 1 and here the Z value is greater than 1. So when can the Z value be greater than 1? If you write 5 by 3, then this fraction is greater than 1. Okay, but if you write 3 by 5, then this fraction is less than 1. That means PV should be greater than nRT. Then Z will also be greater than 1 and will show positive deviation. Okay, and if PV is less than nRT, then Z is less than 1. That means it will show negative deviation. Okay, now we come to the gases which show ideal behavior when the volume occupied is large, so that the volume of molecules can be neglected in comparison to it. This is the same concept which I have told you about drawing in the beaker. The behavior of the gas becomes more ideal when pressure is very low. When pressure is very low, what happens? The molecules are very much far apart from each other. Okay, so that at that condition the gas becomes ideally, because there is no force of attraction among the molecules. They are freely moving at wherever space. Okay, so that time the behavior becomes more ideal. Okay, the temperature at which the real gas obeys ideal gas law over an appreciable range of pressure is called the boil temperature or boil point. Above the boil point, real gases show positive deviation from ideality. That is, the Z values are greater than 1 and the force of attraction between the molecules are very feeble. Below boil temperature, the real gases show decrease in Z value with increasing pressure, which reaches a minimum value. So on further increase in pressure, the value of Z increases continuously. Now what does this mean? You can see the real gas and the ideal gas. If we compare for the pressure, for the same pressure, you can see the volume of the real gas is greater than the volume of the ideal gas. Here the volume of the real gas is greater than the volume of the ideal gas. And at this particular pressure, we can see that the volume of ideal gas is greater than volume of real gas. And at this point you can see the volume of ideal gas is coinciding with the volume of the real gas. So at a particular time the gas is behaving simultaneously, real gas as well as ideal gas. That means here the Z value is 1. Here the Z value is 1. Okay. So we can write here that on further increasing pressure, the value of Z increases. So suppose if you are increasing the pressure has been increased here. Here you can see the V real gas is greater than V ideal gas. So V real gas by V ideal will give you the value of Z. So V real is greater than V ideal. So if I am writing 5 by 3, so this value will come something 1.60, that means Z is greater than 1. So as we are increasing the pressure at this point, the Z value is greater than 1. Okay. So increase in pressure, the deviation is more. When Z is greater than 1, at this particular point, there will be positive deviation. Okay. But if we are decreasing the pressure, you can see if you are decreasing the pressure, the V ideal volume is becoming greater than the V real. So at this particular condition, Z will become less than 1 and it will show negative deviation. Okay, as Z value is V real by V ideal. Okay, now the fraction will become reverse, 3 by 5. So it is less than 1. Okay, so at low pressure and high temperature, gases show ideal behavior at this particular point. Okay, but if you are further lowering the pressure and if the volume is increasing, then again the deviation will be there, but it will be negative deviation. Okay, so these are the conditions for the positive and the negative deviations of the gases. Now how do the ideal gas and the real gas differ? They have no definite volume, they have definite volume because they behave as rigid spheres. Elastic collision of particles, the momentum and the energy is conserved. Here the momentum energy is not conserved, some energy is not due to heat, due to collision. Okay. Next, no intermolecular attraction force because they are far apart from each other. They are point spheres. But here in the non-ideal gas, they behave as rigid spheres. There is force of attraction among the molecules. Okay. Next, it does not really exist in an environment because it's an hypothetical gas. Okay, it's an imaginary gas. But real gas does exist in the environment. Ideal gas is there in high pressure because in high pressure, what happens? The molecules come closer to each other, okay, and the pressure is less when compared to ideal gas. The real gas, if you compare the pressure of the real gas, the pressure is less when compared to ideal gas. Now here the ideal gas is independent of each other, molecules move independent of each other, they do not interact, but in real gas they do interact with each other. Okay. Now in ideal gas, you can see why they have written high pressure, because the molecules are point spheres. Okay, so they will strike the walls with the greater force. They will strike the wall with a greater force. That's why they have written in ideal gas it's high pressure. But if we see the real gas, they are rigid spheres. So if the rigid sphere is in the center, it is attracted by the neighboring molecules equally. So in the center, it will not be, the force will all cancel each other. But if the molecule is striking the wall, and if there are neighboring molecules, and if they are rigid spheres, then what will they do? They will attract these molecules towards itself. Now this molecule will strike the wall of the container with less pressure, with less force. Okay, that's why the pressure inside the ideal gas is more, because here there is no such force of attraction. Okay, but here in the real gas, the pressure is less. That's why they have written here high pressure and here it's less. Okay. That's why the correction term is also not introduced here. Here the correction term is also introduced. It will, the real gas will obey this equation, a n square by v square by v minus nb is equal to nRT. And here it will be PV is equal to nRT. This ideal gas will obey this equation. The real gas will obey this equation. So these are the differences between ideal gas and real gas. I hope I have explained to you this chapter in a very short span of time. Okay, in a very brief way. I hope you like this lecture. Okay, and if you like the lecture, okay, then please study the topics clearly. Make notes of each and every point, whatever I have mentioned in this synopsis part. Okay, try to make notes. Make notes of your own. Okay, do watch the presentation. Write the important points. Okay, solve the questions, the numericals from each and every topic. Okay, regularly. This will help you to increase the concepts. Okay, this will also increase your speed in solving sums and it will help in better clarification of your concepts. Okay, so please go through the lecture carefully, watch each and every topic properly and then solve the questions. Okay, thank you.